Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Energy Minister to hold urgent briefing on recent development in electricity distribution amid ongoing intermittent power outages and the loss of 1,000 megawatts after a fire at GRIDCo substation at Akosombo. Also on the program this afternoon, a military escort convoy has been attacked in Bazua in the Binduri District of Upper East Region, resulting in 3 people being injured. We'll bring you the latest on this. And much later on the program, Minerals Commission defends decision by Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Emmanuel kofi buah to revoke mining rights of akango, salman and nkroful mining of Adamus Resources Limited. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Let's start off from the energy sector, where a lot has been happening, and the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Jinapo, will hold a major briefing on recent development in electricity distribution later today. This comes a few hours after the Minister asked the CEO of GRIDCo to step aside pending investigations into a fire incident at Akosombo Power Control Center. Also, there has been a major shake-up in the leadership of the ECG in the Shanti region. Beyond GRIDCo, Felix Kwacho Fosu, the Minister for Government Communications, also confirmed that the major leadership shake-up within the Electricity Company of Ghana in the Shanti region, where significant power outage swept across residential neighborhoods, commercial centers and industrial zones following the Akosombo blackout, would also take place. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapo, on Friday visited the site and said that a team has been tasked with probing the matter at Akosombo.
This building is constructed in a way to ensure that when there's an explosion, it's contained within. And so the switchyard itself has not been affected. It's quite unusual, and it's quite a situation that we need to get to the bottom of. We're going to get experts to serve on that committee from the Fire Service, from National Security, from the Energy Commission and other institutions that would help us to conduct a detailed investigation. We think that within 2 weeks to 3 weeks they should be ready with a report so that we can get to the root cause of this challenge and all the other issues surrounding this very, very unfortunate incident.
And you had the Power Minister, the Energy Minister, John Jinapo. And you're still here on the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7, and we're still staying with the power issue. Let's go to the Savannah region now, engage the move there. Of course, our reporter Christopher Mwako is covering that area plus other parts of the North Forest. He joins us live on the phone. Christopher, if you can paint a picture for us, what's happening where you are with the power situation?
Yes, Beatrice, the power situation is not something that is looking too good for the people in some parts of the northern and Savannah regions, especially those around the Eastern Corridor area. As we speak, from Bimbila, Salaga, Chamba, Pandai areas, they have power outage. There hasn't been any prior notification to the people living around this area as to whether the VRA NetCo people are doing maintenance or what the situation is. There hasn't been any explanation to that effect. But all we do know is that for the past months, the communities around the Eastern Corridor experience this power situation, and sometimes even the power can go off as far as 15 to 20 times a day. The people cannot tell when their lights will be taken away, and so it's a very serious situation for residents living around this area.
How are critical institutions managing the situation, like health facilities?
Yes, the hospitals have to rely on gensets, and which is also having a toll on their finances, because already these hospitals are struggling, and so getting other money from their IGFs to be able to buy fuel is something that's a worrying situation for them. The business community is also struggling because people are making losses when they even buy their products to keep in their freezers. They do not get it done the way they want because they cannot tell when the power will be taken off. Now, the other critical issue is that even when the power is on, the current is very low. It's not sufficient for them to be able to do anything meaningful with it. And so it's a worrying situation for them.
Thank you very much, Christopher Marco. He's a man covering the Savannah region and also other parts of the north. In the Ashanti region, Ibrahim Abubakar also did some checks for us and brought us this information earlier.
In fact, it's even moving from bad to worse, because now you can no longer predict when exactly you will be having power. Sometimes you'll be at home, you get power, the next 30 minutes is off. It comes back in 2 hours, then it goes off again. So planning is very, very difficult for most people in Kumasi. Like I rightly mentioned, for residents of Kumasi, they are increasingly expressing frustration over the persistent power outages. And these have affected homes, businesses, and essential services across the region, I would say, in recent weeks. Even though we have once in a while the Electricity Company of Ghana saying that the interruptions are not due to load shedding, but rather a combination of technical faults and also planned maintenance. But then people are still not buying it, because when you are unable to properly plan for your day, it becomes a challenge. And we do know that just some few months back, I think 2 months or so, we had the Minister of Energy and Green Transition coming to Kumasi to commission some new installation around 160 kV or so. And we were given that assurance that with this new addition, power will be very, very stable in Kumasi and beyond. Yet we are seeing the opposite of what has been said.
And you had there Ibrahim Abubakar. He is one of our Ashanti regional correspondents. We go to the Eastern region now, where we understand the situation is also getting out of hand. Yvonne Nikwe is a woman who is monitoring events for us. Yvonne, what can you tell us about what's happening now?
Well, Beatrice, from my own lived experience with these power outages to small-scale industries in our region, and then people who conduct businesses on daily life, it hasn't been quite a good situation from them, because you don't know exactly when the lights will go on or off by the time you realize it's off. Meaning that if you're a small-scale business, you might not be able to meet demand. Again, you are not sure when you're able to produce much. And so it means that possibly in the next few days, you could lose businesses or may not be able to meet up. For people who are in their daily life business, it means that your life is somehow kind of threat, because you wake up morning, you cannot iron, your food in the freezers are getting bad because consistently the light goes off maybe 3 times a day. From my lived experience, when the light goes off, where I am, network also goes off. It means that possibly I cannot even file stories on time. And so it's been frustrating for us in the Eastern region, across region, not only a Kofi issue, but across us. Had people speak about this kind of power outages. We do know that GRIDCo does have a challenge, but with the situation at Akosombo, where the substation has also gone off, it means that probably we're hoping that in the coming days, ECG may come to clearly tell us exactly what the situation looks like in terms of their power supply, so that residents know exactly what they are dealing with, and people could probably have their schedules in line with the power outages.
Which means at this stage, there's no communication at all from the ECG, so you don't even know when your lights will go off, or when it does, when it will come back.
Well, the communications come in when the light goes off, and so it comes in, and then ECG says that, well, what we are experiencing is not our fault, but probably an issue of GRIDCo, and so this is what will happen. But as to pre-informing that we do know that these particular areas will go off, that we haven't had.
As we speak, do you have lights?
As I speak, I did have light, but yesterday evening I did not have light, so I slept in the dark.
Thank you very much, Yvonne Nikwe, who is our Eastern regional correspondent. Here in Accra, the situation is not different. Take a listen to what some residents told us.
For me as a student, it's very alarming because I can be learning, or I can be doing laundry, I can be doing anything, then all of a sudden the lights will just go off on notice. We don't know when it's coming back, we don't know when it's going off, it will just go off.
Disturbing because you come to work in the morning, close, very tired, you get home and there is no lights. Like you try to come and sit out for fresh air, and then mosquitoes too get you there. Like it's very bad.
With this current situation, I think it's really affecting our day-to-day activities and, getting ready for work. Sometimes you have some important calls to make, but then your phone goes off. It's really, really frustrating.
And you had there some residents of Accra sharing their experience as regards to the power situation with us. Let's speak to Justice Ohini Akoto, who is the Executive Director at SEC. He joins us via video call. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes. So good afternoon to you, Beatrice, and then good afternoon to your cherished listeners as well.
We've seen the government and heard, indeed, officials tell us that what we're experiencing has nothing to do with doom. So the president has had to reiterate that point. He did that last week because he says we have system upgrades, and of course, the unfortunate incident at the Akosombo power station, the fire there. Do you foresee a doomsday irrespective of these assurances that we're getting?
Yeah. So at the moment, it depends on how we define the doomsday. But then, what we refer to doomsday mostly is when we are not having supply meeting the demand. Yeah. But at the moment, we have the installed capacity a little over 5,000 megawatts, and we all know that our peak load for Ghana is just a little about 4,000 megawatts. So in terms of capacity, we have the capacity. So that doesn't call for doom. So the challenges here is the reliability of it. So what is happening now? Issues that has been caught up with us. That is where we are trying to replace transformers, we are trying to replace power lines to be able to upgrade the system. That is what is causing most of the power issues at the moment. And then there are things we were supposed to do years ago. Because of basically our maintenance culture, which we have to improve on. When the transformer gets loaded for some time, it catches fire. These are some of the incidents that we are seeing. So in terms of capacity, we are okay. It's more of a reliability issue that we are targeting, but I feel we are not doing it, first of all, the right way. Before we would do anything regarding reliability, we should inform the Ghanaian people about what we are doing, give them details about it, and also give them a timeline. Yes, a timeline on when we are going to finish it. If we were able to come out clearer, that would help. And also we should have had a redundancy planning as well, that if we are going to do this retrofit, what are we going to fall on to give power to Ghanaians as we are doing the retrofit. So that is what we haven't done right at the moment.
In the meantime, though, how would you expect the government to, as it were, stabilize the situation in a way? We've already heard that this upgrade of system should take about 3 months. Of course, there will be a second phase as well. We were told this morning by the PRO of the Energy Ministry that 6 units were destroyed in the Akosombo fire. 1 has been installed, and we should expect the rest in the coming days. How do you expect the government to work out all of it together, just so there's a bit of stability, even as these works are going on?
Yeah, so yes, at the moment it's a learning curve for the ministry, ECG, GRIDCo, and all the relevant stakeholders. What I'm saying is that within this phase, whatever work they said they are doing, if they can just quickly finish or put a halt to it to make sure that they stabilize the system once again as we were having, and then they should think about a redundancy plan that if they decide to continue the various phases, probably they'll give us some lines to be on while they do their changes, then they switch into this one, because we can't have power outages for the next 3 months, the next 6 months. That is ridiculous. Nobody does that in power system planning and reliability. So quickly, whatever they are doing, they should put a halt to it and then stabilize the system. And they should have a redundancy plan that when they decide to go back to some of these retrofits, they can put us on that line. And when they resolve it, they can come back to the line that has been retrofit. That would be the only way out, because we can't have power outages for the next 3 to 6 months. That is totally unacceptable. And then we also we've been calling strongly for the ministry to come out to tell us exactly what is going on. We hear pockets of transformer this and then some of these issues. The issues goes beyond it. So they have to come out and tell us what is clearly going on, give us a timeline for the retrofit, and also a plan. We need a redundancy plan. We don't just need system upgrades. Nobody does that. The system has to be reliable when we are still doing the retrofit. That is what we are looking for.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ohina Koto, for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
And you had Justice Ohina Koto, he's the Executive Director of ASEC, sharing his thoughts with us as regards what the government needs to do on the current energy crisis. Still in this sector, the minority is taking on the government over ongoing power crisis across some regions, insisting that the challenge goes beyond the Akosombo fire incident. The fire, which burnt 6 switches, has taken off 1,000 megawatt of power from the national grid. We understand that the rippling effect has also been a 200 additional megawatt affecting boom. Now, this has led to severe power crisis, especially in the Ashanti, Central, Greater Accra, and other regions. Reacting to the situation, Deputy Ranking Member on the Energy Committee, Collins Adumaku Menson, said there is more to the problem than meets the eye.
So, first of all, I'm not too sure it can entirely be attributed to what happened at Akosombo. It was obviously even before the Akosombo fire, which is a very, very unfortunate incident. The lights were not stable. And so at the time, government was telling us that they had to do some upgrade of some transformers just to stabilize or solidify the system. That was the reason. What happened at Akosombo has just exacerbated the situation and made it even more precarious. And what happened at Akosombo was not anticipated. I'm not too sure if any person anticipated the fire. It's quite unfortunate. I'm happy hearing that the engineers are on it. Earlier on, we were told that within 24 hours or 48 hours, some of the units will be coming on board. I've not received any update on that. In fact, when we visited Takrady, the VRA chief executive was of the opinion that all things being equal, it is likely that all 6 units will come on board by close of day today. So I'm not too sure what the update on that is, but Minister is having a press conference at 2 p.m. today. I'm sure he'll be giving us an update on that. But clearly, the situation is not because of the Akosombo incident. The Akosombo incident would have worsened it, because obviously there were some intermittent power outages even before the fire outbreak.
Let's talk about the minister's update, as those who have been there before, have seen this before, have managed the system before, just less than 2 years ago. what do you expect the minister to be telling the citizens of Ghana when he appears before the press at 2 o'clock?
Well, see, the minister is in a very interesting position because...
And you have the ranking member on Parliament Energy, deputy ranking rather, member on the Parliament Energy Committee, Collins Adumakom-Mensah. In other news, a military escort convoy has been attacked in Bazua in the Binduri District of the Upper East region, resulting in 3 people being injured. Military sources say the convoy, which was escorting 2 passenger buses to Boko, came under attack from a lone gunman at the market. The military sources tell us that the shooter managed to escape from the scene, but the military has since begun a cordon and a search operation. Let's speak to our regional correspondent, Castro Senyala, who's got some details for us. Castro, what more information have you gathered on this?
Right, Beatrice. So as we speak now, the military has sent the attack, the victims, and then the buses that came on the attack to the Bazua military camp, where they've been left there to, rest a bit because some of them have been traumatized now, and also the injured have been taken to an undisclosed hospital, but we're just learning that one of the victims has passed away, unfortunately. So that means that now 1 person is dead and 2 more are injured. We also understand that the military has now blocked most of the major routes and paths and has begun a cordon and search operations to retrieve the gun and also apprehend the perpetrators or those behind the shooting incident in the Bazua township. I would also add that back in Boko, the place is tense because obviously one side has been attacked in the escorts, and so that's also led to gunshots within other parts of Boko across places within Boko. There have been multiple gunshots heard in several places within Boko, and it is said that it is in response to the attack on the highway. So this is currently the situation right now.
Okay, but can you tell us what the security arrangement or situation is like after this attack?
Yes. So the security arrangement has changed, starting first with Boko, Binduri, where the cordon operations is currently ongoing, where the soldiers have blocked most of the entry points to Boko and outside Boko or Binduri. And then they are searching every motorbike, every vehicle that is passing by. They've also extended the cordon and search to other locations within the Binduri general area, just to ensure that everything is okay. Everybody is safe, and whoever is behind the brutal attack is apprehended. Also, there've been deployments to the town where there have been reprisal shootings concerning as a result of this attack on the bus that was being escorted by the military.
All right, thank you very much, Castro Senyala. He's our Upper East regional correspondent. The Minerals Commission has defended the decision by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Buah, to revoke the mining rights of Akango, Salman and nkroful mining of Adamus Resources Limited. The Commission says that management of Adamus Minerals unlawfully transferred portions of its mining rights to third parties. The Commission further disclosed that it will, without delay, initiate legal proceedings against the directors of Adamus Resources Limited. Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Isaac Tando, made these remarks whilst addressing a news conference in Accra earlier.
Following a routine inspection and investigations conducted by the Inspectorate Division of the Commission, it was established that Adamus Resources unlawfully assigned portion of its mineral rights to third parties without prior ministerial consent, in direct breach of Section 14 of the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703. The investigations were supported by pictorial evidence and on-site inspection across multiple concessions operated by the company. The findings disclosed systematic and flagrant violation of Ghana's mining laws, prompting the Commission to recommend the revocation of the company's mining leases and the prosecution of the company and its directors under the Minerals and Mining Amendment Act 2019, Act 995.
And you had the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, Isaac Tando, speaking on the decision of the Energy Ministry to revoke the license of some companies within Adamus Mineral Resources Limited. Now, over 80 foreign nationals believed to be Nigerians have allegedly been dumped in parts of the Akatsi North District of the Volta region following the arrest from the streets of Kumasi. The group, made up of only female adults and children, said they were initially detained by immigration officials who attempted deporting them across the Ghana-Togo border but failed. Correspondent Faisal Abdul Idrisu, who is monitoring the situation, joins us on the phone with some update. Faisal, these people we're talking about, if you can tell us where they currently are in Akatsi North and what the conditions look like.
Yeah, so residents here in Fiadenigba in the Akatsi North District say on Friday at about 5 p.m. they spotted a minivan that was being escorted by two immigration officials who were on a motorbike. They drove past the town towards the whole direction, and within a few minutes they drove back to the opposite direction. Just after they had passed, they saw some strangers walking from the outskirts of the town to the mosque area. When they interrogated them, they mentioned that there were 5 buses that had brought them to this enclave all the way from Kumasi. Initially, they were brought to the Aflao border, and there were attempts to deport them to Togo, but the Togolese officials would not budge. And so they drove them along this stretch, and just when they got here, they decided to drop them off one after the other. They dropped them in badges, and so there was nowhere they could go than to walk down to the mosque. As I speak to you, there are over 80 of them, about 25 female adults, but the rest are children. They've been here since Friday evening. So as I speak to you, they are still here. This morning, the authorities interrogated them. I was here and listened to exactly the conversation between themselves and the Serki Zongo for the Fiadenigba community, Alhaji Saliu Idrisu. Let's first and foremost listen to exactly that conversation, detailing how they got here.
Da muka kwana biyu hannunsu, sai suka samu cikin motar mu suka rako mu. Da suka rako mu suka ajiye geji. Sai ya ce tun da an hana shi wuce mai mota mu duk inda an ɗau hotonta duka an raba ta. An ce a cikin 'yan tahiyyar mu kaɗai ne jama'a mu suka yi wa kal a bar loran shi ya wuce. Ya ce to zai samke mu nan ga bakin jeji. In ya ga mota da kaɗan ya yi ƙasan ya mu.
So they were taken the same day and they were taken to Accra. Then from Accra they moved direct to Aflao. So when they came to Aflao, they couldn't have access to enter Togo because the Togolese authorities are not allowing them inside. So they brought them to Akango. Then they spent 2 days there. They spent, yeah, that's what she said. They spent 2 days there at the other barrier. So from there, then the driver said he's tired, so he's not going anywhere again. So they came to this area, that's in Akatsi North. They came to Akatsi North. Then they started dropping them batch by batch.
And you had the resident speaking about the situation and, of course, that interpretation there. But Faisal, if you can tell us, how are people generally reacting to this and any way forward?
The Zongo community is telling us that as far as they are here, they will continue to feed them until the state officials are able to take steps to evacuate them. So they are sleeping under the sheds and the corridors of the mosque since Saturday. I have interacted with the district chief executive, who also mentioned to me that he has already made contact with the immigration officials at the Akango border who are within this territory, and also the Nigerian embassy and the Niger embassy here in Ghana to take steps to evacuate them. But in the interim, he's asking the immigration officials to come here and do the necessary profiling and procedures leading to their evacuation. I contacted the sector commander for the Ghana Immigration Service, and he also indicated to me that even though the initial process, which was aimed at deporting them, they were not involved, since they are within their territory, they are taking steps to ensure that in the coming days, this issue is resolved once and for all. Let's listen to the district chief executive for Akatsi North for Jokatamani on this very subject.
I'm sorry, we're unable to hear him. Our time is up, but thank you very much, Faisal Abdul Idrisu. He's our Volta regional correspondent. And that's it for the Midday News here on Sri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Log on to srinews.com for more news.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, assures calm is returning to the electricity sector.
Preparing that, and I think it doesn't require us to do any load shedding. All we can do is to plead with Ghanaians to bear with us whilst we upgrade the system for them and for all of us. It's for the benefit of all of us.
Plus, IMF team arrives in Accra for final review of $3 billion recovery program. I am Michael Obodu. Details of these and many other stories lined up for you. Do stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story, and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring a stable and reliable power supply for all Ghanaians. Executive Secretary of PURC, Dr. Shafiq Suleiman, has emphasized ongoing efforts to maintain the progress made since early last year. He noted calm is returning to the sector, and there is no need for load shedding.
We are working for the Ghanaian consumer to ensure that things are in place for them to enjoy their continuously stable power we've had from the beginning of last year till date. It's not easy, it's a system, and once in a while we get these interruptions and we get these obstructions. We are just putting in place critical steps to ensure that we resolve it and those things those incidents do not occur again. Timetable is usually related to when there's shortage in supply and there are issues with. So we are managing supply. I mean, these are transmission issues, and these are also distribution issues. And we already have the transformers, over 3,000 transformers we procured. Just trying to upgrade the system. So we are making it much more usable. We are upgrading the system to make it much more convenient for Ghanaians to use. And unfortunately, along the line, there was an accident in GRIDCo, and we are also repairing that. And I think it doesn't require us to do any load shedding. All we can do is to plead with Ghanaians to bear with us whilst we upgrade the system for them and for all of us. It's for the benefit of all of us.
Executive Secretary of PURC, Dr. Shafiq Suleiman, speaking. Meanwhile, the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, CEMSE, has raised concerns regarding recent leadership changes at the Ghana Grid Company, GRIDCo, and the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, warning that political interference could lead to a collapse of the energy sector. Executive Director of CEMSE, Benjamin Insia, has been speaking.
The suspension of GRIDCo MD lacks motive because reasons for suspension were not well communicated in the press statement from the communication department of the presidency, and creates a lot of suspicion with respect to how perceived NDC loyalists are now influencing appointments and disappointments in the energy sector. The second issue is that I think any shake-up or transfer within ECG should have been done by the managing director of ECG and not directly from the presidency. If we allow this to pass, it sends a signal of too much political interference in the operations of ECG, and that is likely going to collapse the sector because technical expertise or experts will begin to align to political parties, thinking that in future political parties will rather serve their interest in terms of making.
Executive Director of CEMSE, Benjamin Insia, speaking. Now, the Chamber of Mines is urging greater local investment in the production of grinding media, a market it estimates is worth about $100 billion. The Chamber says only around 20% of demand is currently met locally, leaving significant room for domestic participation. Grinding media are materials such as steel balls and rods used in mining to crush and grind ore into finer particles for processing. But industry players warn that inconsistent quality standards have led to increased downtime, lower recovery rates, and higher operational costs. In response, the Chamber has launched a new set of standards to regulate the production of grinding media in the country. Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. He says developing a strong local industry could unlock significant economic value and reduce reliance on imports.
Dollars of that was in 2023, and about that 20-point-something million was all that we were able to supply locally. So it means that you have about a $90-something million business that is available for us to take. And now with the standards that are in place, and there are a lot of manufacturers that also currently are around, that is an opportunity for us to be able to scale up. And again, we should not...
The Chamber adds that improving quality and standardization will boost efficiency, strengthen confidence in locally made products, and position Ghana as a hub for mining support services in West Africa.
We should not only be looking at Ghana. Once we start doing that, we can export, into our neighboring countries who also would use activated carbon, take advantage of AFTA, for example, and so then it also then becomes an avenue to be able to bring some forex back to our country.
You heard the engineer, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe. He is the CEO of the Ghana National Chamber of Mines. Now, away from that, Ghana is entering the final stretch of its program with the International Monetary Fund as a staff mission arrives in Accra this week for the 6th and last review. The 2-week visit, beginning April 29, will assess the country's performance under the 3-year extended credit facility ahead of a planned exit in August. Officials are expected to focus on whether key fiscal targets and structural reforms have been met, particularly in the energy sector and debt management. Government spending priorities, including social protection, will also come under scrutiny. The review will set the so-called prior actions Ghana must complete to unlock the final tranche of IMF support. In the financial sector, the fund will examine progress in resolving legacy challenges and strengthening banks. After the visit, the IMF team will return to Washington to finalize its reports. Ghana's program, initially due to end in May, was extended to August to allow time for the final review and updated data assessment. The IMF has described Ghana's performance so far as broadly satisfactory, citing stronger than expected growth driven by services and agriculture alongside improving financial sector stability. IMF officials say sustaining these gains will depend on continued fiscal discipline as Ghana prepares to exit the program. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Before we leave you, the Ghana Hoteliers Association says high operating costs are undermining its competitiveness within the sub-region. According to industry players, hotel rates in the country are relatively higher than in many other African countries, potentially discouraging tourists. Operators say the rising cost of doing business, from utilities to taxes, continues to put pressure on pricing. Speaking on the sidelines of his swearing-in, President Ghana Hoteliers Association Victor Opoku-Minta urged government to take swift action to address the cost challenges to support growth in the hospitality sector.
Tax component of a hotel room of 100 cedis is about 20%. So if you take the taxes away, you would have utilities. So the utilities, electricity and water, have a huge percentage as well. Of course, if utilities, the classification of utilities in terms of hotels are dropped to a certain level, there's always PRC back and forth in terms of placing the kind of tariffs that we pay. Incentives like that translate directly into the cost of doing business and translate directly into the lowering of the hotel rates. And like I said, examples have to be made in terms of what's happening in the sub-region and other countries, because a hotel room in Ghana, should be comparative to a hotel room anywhere else in Africa, if you understand what I'm saying. So why are hotel rooms more expensive? So all these things trickle into the bigger picture. And so yes, apart from the taxes, there's the cost of utilities and bills. There's the cost of, everything we provide in a hotel is imported. Very few of the things that a hotel would use in their operations are manufactured locally. So the imports come at a cost, compared to other countries that don't have that chance. So there's conversations that have to be had.
And that was President of the Ghana Hoteliers Association, Victor Opoku-Minta, ending Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please stay safe.